Hi and welcome to this newsletter. First of all, I say thank you for being on the subscription list, and I hope you enjoy the information that you get. Over the course of the next few months, I'm going to answer any of your questions that you've got referenced pressure points. So please email in and let us know what you want on these video newsletters. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is pressure points. One of the biggest questions I get asked is, do they work? Well, duh, of course they do. But they're a learned skill just like anything else. And they're the last 5% of what you need to know. Now, what do I mean by the last 5%? It's this simple. You've got to have everything else about your martial arts right first before you then add in the pressure points to that which you already know. So you've already got to have your body physics, dynamics and mechanics correct. You've got to know about distance, timing, space, punching power, all those other bits that make your martial arts work. You need those in place first. And that's what I specialize in teaching before I even start to teach you how to make pressure points work, and where they are and how they operate. Look at it this way, okay? If you're a grappler, for example, there is no point in me showing you how to make top wrist lock 10 times more effective if you've got absolutely no idea of how to get there, or just don't know anything about grappling, for example. So I hope that makes it a little bit more clear. If you're somebody from a striking art, there's little point in me making your art better by showing you where to hit and how to hit if you're no good at getting there. You've got to be able to get there. You've got to be able to land your technique. You've got to put yourself in the right position. And that's what we help you to do first, and then we start to teach you pressure points and how they can be incorporated into what you do. Now, most people, when they learn pressure points, they just learn the points and how they work. Well, that's learning it the wrong way round. Okay? Again, I'll use that analogy of the grappler. If you learn the points from a grappling perspective and you learn how to make a lock much more effective, that's fine as long as you get to that lock. But if you don't know how to get to that lock properly, then it doesn't matter how effective you can make it, because you'll never get there to make the lock. And that is the approach that I take with pressure points. You've got to be able to get there first and then add your pressure points to it. That's what I mean by the last 5%. Now, it's a very, very important last 5%, because the difference that it makes between what you're currently doing and what you could be doing is massive. So when I say 5%, I don't mean it in a flippant way, as it's only 5% effective. I mean it's the last 5% of what you're doing in that technique. It makes the technique much, much more effective. Now, we have a thing called players to the game, which are the basic components of making a technique work. Now, through my experience of teaching literally thousands and thousands of people over the years, one of the biggest misconceptions about players is that people may already know several of them, but they apply players 1, 2, 3 to technique A, and players 4, 5, 6 to technique B, and players 7 and 8 to technique D, or something like that. But they haven't been instructed, or they haven't been advised, or they haven't thought of adding players 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to technique A, B, C, D, or adding every player that you can think of to every technique that you can think of, thereby massively increasing the effectiveness of each and every given technique. Now, to put that into perspective, pressure points on their own is a huge area of study. And to me, pressure points is one player, just one player. So you need several of these players in place to make your technique as effective as it can possibly be. Now, we do that by introducing you to a player at a time. We teach you how it works, how to apply it. Then we give you ideas to think of how it can be applied in other areas. So it may be showing off one or two fairly simple techniques to give you the principle. And then because it's a principle, you can apply it to everything that you do, rather than learning technique A, technique B, technique C, and so on and so forth. And here's another little irony for you, if you like. By learning principles, by looking at your martial arts from a principle-based perspective, you actually learn more techniques than the guy who learns technique after technique after technique after technique. That guy has to have a massive memory. You don't. You just need to know some principles and then think and apply. Once you start to apply these principles, everything starts to work for you. And the more you train it, the more you learn them, the more you apply them, the better you get at them. And I make no excuse for the fact that it's a learned skill, just like anything else. Yes, if you're the sort of person who will absorb things quickly and apply them quickly, and you're already quite good at getting there, then you'll pick this information up so fast it's ridiculous. What's taken us years and years to get right, we can teach in a matter of moments. Then it's up to you to apply it. And it doesn't take as much learning and training as you might think. Why is that? Well, it's because we've gone through that process. We've found all the ways not to do it right. We've made all the mistakes so that you don't have to. So you can take on board these principles and apply them very, very quickly to that which you do. The principles being the players, etc., etc., and the pressure points. And by learning it in that way, and in that order that I teach it in, I guarantee you that you will learn it far faster than you could ever imagine. And far faster than just learning some pressure points. To put that again into perspective, some of the courses that I teach for police and security personnel all over the world are literally one-day courses spreading up to 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Now, people who are taking on board just a one-day course, I'm talking probably 6 hours of training and learning, they're able to apply this information that evening at work. I'm going to repeat that. After 6 hours or so of training, they're able to apply it that evening at work. That means that those individuals, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them all over the world, have been able to pick up this information within a few short hours of learning and training it, and then apply it to that which they do in a real life environment when the lives are on the line that very day. Now, if you're a skilled martial artist, I'm going to bet you a pound to a pinch of the old proverbial that you're of the opinion, and so am I, that you should pick up that information as quick, or if not much quicker, than those law enforcement officers and security personnel. Because the vast majority of them have not got your training background, and yet they're still able to absorb, learn, and apply this information. And not only that, they're able to teach it to other people. So, I hope that's given you a brief idea as to where I look at pressure points and how they should be taught. If there is any background noise, it's because where I am at the moment there's a huge festival on and you can't escape the noise no matter where you are. So I apologise for that. Please send in your questions and they will be answered on video. Thanks very much again and look forward to training with you soon.